Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Limington Select Board meeting for September 26, 2024. We're going to call the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will need an approval of the meeting minutes for September 19th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Approval of the warrants for week number 39. Payroll warrant number 90 in the amount of $32,968.09. And appropriations warrant number 91 in the amount of $13,312.21. The totals for warrant 99 and 91 is $46,280.30. A couple of recurring bills this week. Bureau of Motor Vehicles, $3,024.75. Jensen Baird, $1,687.50. Central Maine Power, $59.08. UniFirst, $94.22. Minuteman Press, $360. Matheson Trigas, $760.43. Gorham Fire Department and Intercept, $300. And WEX, that's our fuel bill for the amount of $3,026.95. I wait a motion.
I make a motion we approve warrants 90 and 91.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Purchase order request. Tammy, can you read the purchase order request for us?
Purchase order request for fire and EMS. A request to pay Boundtree for medical supplies, $653.96. A request to pay Keyser Falls Napa for filters and oil, $207.34.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire and EMS purchase order requests.
I will second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries.
Purchase order request for Davis Memorial Library. A request to pay Amazon for AAA phone batteries, $13.28. And a request to pay Amazon for thank you notes, $11.74.
I'll make a motion to approve the Davis Memorial Library purchase order requests.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries.
Purchase order request for town clerk. A request to pay Beverly Foss for mileage for election conference, $30.15.
I'll make a motion to approve the town clerk's office purchase order request.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries.
Purchase order request for planning board. A request to pay Amazon for yellow ink cartridge and sticky tabs, $291.38.
Make a motion to approve the planning board purchase order request.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries.
Purchase order request for Parks and Rec. A request to pay Amazon for trucks, flag belts, and air dry clay, $163.12. And a request to pay Warren's Office Supplies for 2 cases of printer paper, $103.80.
Make a motion to approve the Parks and Rec purchase order requests.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. On to weekly activities. For the Select Board, the attorneys have gotten back to us regarding the purchase of the Limington Academy gym. They have been in contact with the Limington Academy trustees and have settled out the purchase agreement. They were asking for a closing date or what date the Select Board would like to close on the purchase, and they suggested mid to late November, which sounded just fine with us. Dead River Heating was in today. We had reached out for a request for an estimate for having a contract with them to handle all of our heating needs for the town. If you're unaware, all of the town buildings, a lot of them have different suppliers for their heat, and having one single company handling those fuel requirements would make things cheaper and easier on the town, or at least that is the hopes. We are waiting to hear back with their proposal. A resident came in today with some tax questions, and we were happy to help them out and give them an abatement form, so hopefully that will end in a positive outcome for the resident. We also received 4 topographic maps from Jeff, Georgia. These maps were brought into the town. They were from the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Yep. They were beautiful topographic maps, and a resident didn't want to see them just get thrown away. So Jeff, Georgia was more than happy to mount them on frames. We have 2 of them out back right there. He'll be back next week to attach them to the walls, and we think it's going to make this room a little bit more lively and less like a doctor's waiting room, as it were. So thank you, Jeff, Georgia, and thank you, Bonnie Lord, for helping to facilitate that. Really appreciated. Next week, an executive session is scheduled for Thursday, October 3rd at 4 p.m. pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 405 6E, consultation with legal counsel. With that said, we're going to move into weekly reports from the different departments. Who wants to do fire and EMS?
I just got this that was asked to read.
Please.
Strategic Planning Community Forums, Bonnie Eagle. Who? All stakeholders in the Bonnie Eagle community with an interest in the future of the district. What? Community input on the revision of our district strategic plan. What do you see as Bonnie Eagle Schools District's biggest successes and strengths? What are our greatest challenges and opportunities for improvement? And what goals and focus areas reflect the priorities of the district over the coming years? This will be held when and where. All forums will be held from 6 to 7:30 p.m. September 24th at Buxton Center Elementary School Cafeteria. September 26th, Hollis Elementary School Cafeteria. October 1st, Bonnie Eagle High School Library. October 2nd, George E. Jack School Gym. And October 3rd will be here at H.B. Emery Junior Memorial School Cafeteria. Please note there is at least one forum in each town. You can attend any meeting that works for you. It doesn't have to be where your child attends or the town you live in. They all hope to see you there. Can't make it to the community forum. You can still make your voice heard and contribute to the conversation by taking a few moments to share your thoughts and rate the thoughts of others on this exchange by scanning the QR code below. And I will have this posted on the board out front for anybody that's interested. So.
Thank you, Jason. Fire and EMS report. Either one of you want to read that for us?
Sure. Stay with me, I'll find it. Week ending September 21st, 2024. Number of calls that week, 15. Month to date is 46. Year to date's 556. 1 fire and 14 EMS calls. Schedule status, all shifts were fully staffed all week. All shifts are filled for the remainder of September. October schedule has been released and all shifts have been filled. Trainings in-house. Wednesday night, they hosted the meeting of the York County Firefighters Association. This is a group of departments within the county who focuses on ways to train and recruit memberships. Tuesday morning, the chief took an engine to Hollis to assist them with a water supply training. No mechanical issues vehicle-wise. The scheduled annual pump testing for October 20th. They will take all the trucks to Moya Modeo and test each truck's pump to ensure it's able to pump at its rated capacity. Special notes, month to date, they are 5 calls behind September and are currently 28 calls ahead of last year. And after today, which I think they approached 8 or 9, 10 calls today, it's been pretty active today in town, so I think they're very busy.
Yes, just this one day, there have been so many calls into fire and EMS that, as far as month to day goes, we're ahead of last September at this rate. Thank you, Jason.
Yes.
Tammy, what do you got for us?
I have Limington Parks and Rec.
Alrighty.
Their weekly report, before and after care. They have 38 children in the program currently and still have openings available for the morning and afternoon. The coffee social every Wednesday from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 at the Old Town Hall. Our soccer season is underway with 11 Limington teams playing surrounding towns. And a big thank you goes out to all of our volunteer coaches. Registration is open for Intro to Jazz class starting in October. Monday nights for 5 to 7-year-olds and Thursday nights for 8 to 12-year-olds. This program will be at the Old Town Hall from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Forms are available at the municipal office. Registration is available for childcare at HB Emory on early release days, with the next day beginning this coming Wednesday, October 2nd. Childcare is provided from 12:30 to 5:30 for $20 per child. Registration is open for the first Teacher in Service Day of the year on Friday, October 11th. Childcare is provided at HB Emory from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And we'll be taking a trip to Dole's Orchard to go apple picking and get lunch. The fee is $45 for the day. Pickleball is still happening at Blake Memorial Field every Tuesday and Friday night at 5:30. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned player, all are welcome. Join the Limington Pickleball Facebook group or join Limington Pickleball on the Team Reach app for more information. Trunk or Treat is coming up on Saturday, October 26th from 3 to 5 at the municipal office parking lot. Rain date, Sunday, October 27th. More information to come, but if you'd like to participate as a trunk, please reach out to Sherry Beatty or Madison Moody.
Thank you, Tammy. Would you like to read Code Enforcement or Public Works Department?
I don't have either, sir.
I got code.
All right, if you don't mind.
Growth permits to date from 9/18, 0. There's been 4 building permits, 0 electrical permits, 2 plumbing permits, 1 occupancy permit for a total of 7. The fees in that time is $1,154.80. Year-to-date's 315 permits total, and it's revenue of $120,723.91. Craig has completed 16 inspections this week, and they've got a quote from Cody Woodworking for a doorway into the old bath storage area. They'll be getting plumbing and electrical quotes as well. All quotes will be sent to the board next week. Update. So.
Excellent, thank you, Jason. From the Public Works Department, this week they worked to repair shoulder damages along Boothby at Blackbrook Crossing. The shoulder was rebuilt with recycled asphalt, the ditch was cleaned, and they removed sand from behind the guardrails. River Road Section 3 had several large rocks on the beginning of the gravel section to be paved. Using the grader and loader, they removed any large rocks that could cause any problems during the paving. River Road, the Route 11 side, is scheduled to be shimmed and surfaced in the next couple of weeks. The pavement will extend approximately 500 feet further over the gravel section to allow ease in winter maintenance and access to the school turnaround. Crews work to patch this section of River Road as well, with 3/8 surface to allow paving crews to shim without handwork. Hanscom School Road had a section that flooded early this year, causing severe shoulder damage and edge cracking. The crews worked to patch the edge of the roadway and then build the shoulder with recycled asphalt. Several potholes patched along Millturn Road, Stonecrest Drive, and Beaverberry Road. Shoulders repaired at the end of Axelson Road, and stop road sign repaired for the 3rd time. Engine 2 has a few small repairs for the scene lights. Rescue 2 was serviced. Truck 6 had an ABS modulator leak repaired and an air dryer service. Loader had some fabrication done on the cab to repair rust damages and painted. July Street had a few small trees removed and chipped. Norton Road had 4 culverts plugged and cleaned, and they have moved the machine back to Shaving Hill to work along a couple of areas still causing some drainage issue. But as you can tell, they've been a very busy crew, and we thank all the departments for their hard work. Informational bulletin. Jason, would you like to read the informational bulletin?
Sure.
I just had a question.
Sure.
Please.
You have that paper about the school, who read that?
That's,
I got it right
she's
there.
right, got it right there.
So they just talked to you about the strategic planning community forums that Bonnie Eagle is having all over the district. They're not giving you the whole story here, this is just come to the meeting, but probably if you knew what the meeting was about, you might want to come, because I think that their proposal, and where's your wife? She's on the school board. She may know better than me, but I believe they're proposing moving all the elementary schools to the middle school, moving the middle school kids to the high school and building a new high school, which means they're closing our town schools. So I think people need to be aware of that and know what this is really talking about. It's not just a forum that's, yeehaw, they're talking about the future, and that's what the future is going to be. Or that's what they're asking for in the future. You said that you got a quote from Dead River. Are you gonna get quotes from other fuel companies?
That's the idea, yes.
Okay.
We're looking for companies that can facilitate all the different items, the propane, the K1,
Right.
and the oil. They were the first ones that responded.
I also asked if you would get quotes from HVAC companies to service all of our buildings as well. So
Yeah.
I wondered if that was still on the agenda.
It's on the agenda, but we haven't looked into it yet.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's really important, because we have probably 4 different people that service all over our buildings in town, and if we could consolidate that, I think that would be a savings in money.
Yes, agreed.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you. Okay, informational bulletin. Select Board office hours are Thursdays, 2 PM to 8 PM. On-air meeting time is Thursdays at 7. Transfer station hours are Saturdays and Sundays from 9 to 4, and Wednesdays from 12 to 4. A transfer station sticker must be attached to your vehicle's windshield for disposal of all items. The transfer station stickers are available at the town's office for $20. No sticker is required to use the swap shop. The transfer station does not accept brush, yard clippings, and hazardous waste. Riverside Recycling in Portland takes the hazardous waste. General Assistance Office applications are available from the town clerk's office during their normal business hours. Application must be filled out and accompanied with supporting documentation and must be signed. Planning Board meets at the Municipal Complex the first and third Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Parks and Rec, Cards and Coffee, is held in the Old Town Hall building every Wednesday from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Come meet some new folks, play some games. If you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out to Madison Moody, our Recreation Director, at m.moody@limingtonmaine.gov.
Thank you, Jason. Right now, we're going to open up the meeting to the public. If anyone would like to have questions or comments, please approach the podium and state your name for the record.
Donna Sawyer, Shaving Hill Road. I missed the beginning of the meeting because I was trying to make my way here in the rain. Could you just refresh me what that school bulletin that you read was? Did you read it or just tell the public?
Yes,
It was-
no, it was, so
Just summarize it for me there.
yes, so they're having a number of meetings. They're calling it a forum, but it sounds like it's a meeting to go over what I would compile a 5-year plan for the school districts. There's multiple, there's Buxton Center, Hollis Elementary, Bonnie Eagle High School, George E. Jack, and then October 3rd at HB Emery here in town is where they'll have the other meeting. So it sounds like if any of the
So
people...
is this news to the select board? Did you know?
I received this morning, this afternoon to read tonight. I don't
And
have any,
You didn't know it was coming or anything?
I had no more info than this. I apologize, Donna.
A what?
I apologize. I don't have any more than what this is.
That's
Yeah,
fine,
I'm
I
with
didn't
you.
know anything. You know, it's funny, a couple of nights ago, I was on Facebook. I don't know, probably everybody's on Facebook. There was a long discussion going back and forth about the SAD 6 elementary schools. And it didn't sound like what you're saying. Everybody was up in arms. I couldn't get the gist of it, so all I know is I'm glad I came here tonight and there's something in the public. I have one other small question. There's going to be a door taken off from the code office into the supply closet. Could you expand on that?
I really don't know. I met with Craig this afternoon. He's just in the process of getting some quotes. I think they want to move into, they need more, because Judy is currently sitting out here in the.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering, there's plumbing in there and it's full of boxes in storage.
Yep.
Where are those going to go?
That's a very good question. It's just in the preliminary stages. They're getting quotes on how much it would even cost, if it's even feasible at that point.
I see.
So it's the
I'm
very
just one of
beginning.
these people, I gotta know everything when something comes out.
It's all good.
I can't think of anything else. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. Anything else from the public for the select board? Do any of the select board members have anything to say? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, before we go ahead and vote to adjourn, we will be having that special town meeting. We're going to take a 5 to 10 minute recess, and then we will enter into the special town meeting. The vote, or the motion is to adjourn. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 5 to 10 minutes.
What time is it?
Welcome to the special town meeting for the town of Limington. We're here to act on 3 articles, and we'll get started with Article 1 to elect a moderator. Do
I
have a-
make a motion that we have Joyce Foley as our moderator.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other nominations? Seeing none, we need to take a ballot.
You want me to help you?
Oh, you guys hand these all out?
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have to take one,
Oh.
We're just looking for yes or no, right?
but write down the name.
Okay. What?
Okay. And that's the one that's running their message. Oh, yes.
Joyce wins. Okay. So Joyce has won that nomination, so Joyce, if you would proceed to the table. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Joyce Foley, do swear
I, Joyce Foley, do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so long as I shall
so long as I shall
continue a citizen thereof.
continue a citizen thereof.
I, Joyce Foley, do swear
I, Joyce Foley, do
that
swear
I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my
to the
abilities,
best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent on me
the duties incumbent on me
as moderator of this meeting.
as moderator of this meeting.
Thank you.
This mine?
They're all, yeah, anyone you want.
Oops, maybe. Close it. I always notice when they ask me to do this, they give me the chair that quickly rolls backwards. I don't know if that's a message or not.
Switch if you like.
No, I'm fine.
Wasn't on purpose.
No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I need you to sign that.
Thank you. Yeah, we've.
Oh,
All right, I'll get it. Thank you. We will use the main moderator's guide as our guide for this town meeting. And just quickly to reference one of the things that I swore to here was to maintain an orderly and respectful meeting. I don't know how many of you were at town meeting last spring, but there were one instance and a couple of instances that got a little bit out of control. And I felt that I did not handle it as well as I should have. So the moderator's manual says that all questions go through the moderator, and I expect that everyone to honor that. And if it doesn't happen, on the second time I have to tell someone that their questions go through the moderator and they don't do it, I'm going to have the mic turned off. It is mandatory that we treat everyone with respect, no matter what our personal feelings might be, and I intend to ensure that that happens. So I thank you for understanding. So the first, I'd ask everyone to mute their cell phones also. And when you get recognized, if you go to the podium, state your name and street address, and direct the question to me. I will first ask, once I've read the article, ask the Board of Selectmen to respond, open it to the audience, then the questions come, and whether it's a selectman or, in the case of town meetings that are spring town meetings, usually the department heads are here, and they also have things to say. So, that being said, Article 2, to see if the town will vote to change the form of government from selectmen to a, quote, town manager plan, quote, according to MRS Title 3A, Chapter 123, Section 2631. Is there a motion? Jake, thank you. Is there a second? Yes, the lady. I'll turn it over to the selectman for who's addressing this.
Does anybody want to start, or should I?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, in the past, we have talked about having a town manager come on board. There's a few reasons for this. The select board, we're only in the office for about 6 hours a week, and there's a lot of town business that needs to be done in this time. We are finding ourselves a little bit overtaxed with some of the requirements that the town needs of us. A big issue of this is human resources. As selectmen, we are accountable to the public, and when dealing with human resource issues, it's important that our employees are able to maintain their privacy and sorry, the word escaped me for a second. So we would like to bring somebody on board that can handle human resources as well as look for grant opportunities for the town so that we can find additional funding for some of the things that we so desperately need. Generally speaking, when town managers come on board, they are pretty good at finding grants that the town can then use to improve the situation of the residents. And in most cases, those grants that they find end up being far more than what their yearly salary ends up being. Does anyone want to add anything else?
We are under strict Maine law when we adopt this type of government. It'll be town manager / select board form of government is what they call it. There are lots of legal laws that the state has that dictate what he does or she does and the duties that they have and that they perform. So we have qualifications. There's also, MMA has a list and a way to research and try to find the right manager for the town. And so we will be following some of their guidance and the qualifications that the people come up with for the town. We want the very best for Limington. They will be doing a lot of the overseeing in the office on a day-to-day basis that we don't do. They still answer to the select board. So think of it as, we're the president and CEO of the company, and the town manager is a step below that does a lot of the internal work, but they still answer to us in the end. The important thing is that everybody that is sitting out in this audience is the head of us. So whatever you guys vote on, we have to follow that through. Whether it's a budget or whether it's an ordinance, we are to carry those forward to the best of our ability and in accordance with the law. So the town manager will fall under us and answer to us, but still carry out, oversee the budget, make sure that, everything is done in a good way, and then reports back to us. That's kind of a broad oversight.
And more of the HR day-to-day basis too.
Correct.
So,
Yes. It says here in one of the laws that the select board is to act as a body, the administrative service to be performed through the town manager and the committees that we have. So it lays out the powers and duties of a town manager, how they administer their offices. It's all right on maine.gov. Look under town manager. It's all right there for you guys to read if you'd like to.
If the town does decide to change our form of government to a town manager plan, we will then work with our attorney to draft up a job description and go through the proper steps of actually vetting and hiring this individual. Yeah.
Just one other thing to note is that we are by law required to vote in this type of government at least 90 days before town meeting. And when and if this is voted in, if you decide that you want to change that back or to change it to, you need at least 90 days before town meeting to act on it again. So this is your opportunity here.
All right. Any questions from the audience? Yes, the gentleman in the hat.
Ron Russell, 480 Sampon Road. You mentioned-
Questions come through the moderator, please.
Excuse me?
Questions come through the moderator.
Okay, the question I have is, you mentioned that there's a salary. What's that look like?
Selectman?
salary at this time, we designated that it would be no more than $100,000. That is correct, right?
That was what was in the town budget last year. It was on the wrong line item, it wasn't ever voted on, it was never a part of the budget. That is up to you guys as well.
Yes.
So whatever goes into the budget is voted on by the town. Now, if the town, so there's nothing in the budget right now, okay? There won't be anything in the budget until March. So, and I'm not certain how long it'll take to find a town manager or where in the year 2025 they land. And so their salary will be dependent on how long they're here, right, in that first year, prorated for the months that they're going to be here. But whatever their salary is voted on at the town meeting as a line item.
Any more questions?
Yes, I do. When will it come to the people to decide what that salary should be? Should we vote this type of government in? Should it not be guaranteed that the people will have a say to pay someone $100,000 to be an administrator?
Yes, that would happen at the budget presentation in our meeting in March. If the folks are unhappy with the amount that has been suggested for the town manager, the townspeople will have the opportunity to change that.
And just to add to what Michael said, in a town meeting, obviously we the public vote on it, but in a warrant article, the monies that are set cannot be increased, but they can be decreased, so the town does have control.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, I think you had.
I didn't have anything for this. I just,
Oh.
Mike, can you hold the mic a
Name and
little bit
address.
closer to you? Because you're the only one that we can't hear over the speakers. I just want to make sure it's on for the recording.
Is
That's
that better?
all. No.
No?
Is it
I'm
on?
talking right into it.
That one's on.
All right, there we
There
go.
you go.
Sorry.
Yes, yes. Yes, yep.
Steve Young, River Road. I am speaking as a citizen, but also as a member of the Financial Advisory Committee for the last, I think, 6 years, maybe 5. Seems like longer than that. And I'm in favor of this. And one of the reasons why is I've seen several situations where it's cost the town more money to not have a town manager. I've seen a number of select board people, all good, hard-working people, who make mistakes because they don't have enough time to do the job. And that costs us money. And I don't want to spend more money. I don't want my taxes to go up. But I think this is going to be a much more efficient form of government. And the last time there was an opening on the select board, somebody said to me, "Why don't you run for that?" And I said, "Because I'm not a fool." No insult, but just, it's such a hard job. And it's an impossible job because you don't have enough time. You guys get paid for, what, 6 hours a week, if that? And it's a full-time job. I know in Buxton, a town manager found a grant to build a whole big municipal center for their fire department, public works. As we heard earlier, this building is overfilled. We're trying to figure out how to take doors out and make more room. Our 5-year plan has this building being either replaced or expanded. that's coming just because things are growing. I would really like to have a town manager find a grant to pay for all of that or half of that. So I feel very strongly about this, that this will save us money, even though it feels like we're spending money. That's it, thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Bonnie?
Thank you. Hi, Joyce. Bonnie Lord Laughlin, Cape Road. When the money packages, when and if the package is put together for the money, I trust that we will all remember that the whole package needs to have benefits as part of it, and all the aspects of benefits. Secondly, you referred a minute ago, Mike, to when you all hire the town manager. So that was a clarification I just wanted to seek, that in this form that we will be voting on, MRS 30, et cetera, the way it will be done is that the town manager will be hired by the select board.
They're appointed.
Hired for a salary. Appointed means you all will make the choice. And we will continue to elect our select board, is that right?
Yes.
Same process. And there are forms of this out there. I'm not too familiar with some, but there's a town council in some cases. I think Gorham has a town council, and there are select boards, and there's select boards with 3 select board members and 5 select board members. Is any of that a part of what we're going to be voting on tonight? Like,
No, it's going to be 3 selectmen, 3 select board members, and a town manager. That's it.
Okay, so that's what we're voting on. I guess I'm a little shy of the fact that we probably aren't completely familiar with the whole statute to vote on it tonight. I'm not saying that we won't vote on it tonight, but we're all sort of hoping that this will be a good thing to vote for.
Correct.
The last thing is, we have voted, you referred to something a minute ago that wasn't in, we voted on aspects of this over the past couple of years, as I remember.
Yes.
So what did we vote on, what didn't we vote on, and what is left to be done?
There was a very vague warrant article in last year's town meeting. It didn't meet the criteria that it was meant to be at 90 days before town meeting. So even if the town voted on it, it wasn't legal. It was not worded correctly. It wasn't presented correctly. And even in the budget wasn't in there correctly. So none of it mattered, essentially. So we're doing it the right way tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions? Yes, sir.
Rich Page, Joe Joy Road. I guess I'd like to ask, when we think about changing how we want to run our business here in town, what are the top 3 things that are driving us to want a town manager versus not?
Does anyone want to answer?
Top 3 things. So we're going to see from the townspeople the benefit of having this manager. What are the top 3 things?
Human resources,
When you say human resources, elaborate.
dealing with personnel issues.
Will they be hiring and firing everyone?
They have the power to hire department heads and employees, yes.
As far as termination go, if they would, and anything that might result from personnel issues that would then require action by the select board, they would then bring it to us. In example, department heads. The second thing would be finding grant money for the town to use towards improving our infrastructure, buying new equipment, building buildings, expanding the town in general ways.
Is there a performance incentive objective for this town manager? So we say we would like him to get, he, she, to get a grant. how much grant money are we expecting that person to bring in? Is that part of their job? Is it measurable? So do we expect them to bring in $1 million this year, or they're not getting their job done? Is there a performance measure for grants?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I know.
That could be in their job description.
Okay,
They wouldn't receive bonuses for finding grants.
whatever.
But-
But at least there's something that
Fine.
ties that to we expect.
Yes,
Yes.
And
Yes.
they deliver.
yep. And the third thing is that we would have a representative of the town, the town manager would be here more hours than the select board would be to answer questions and help facilitate needs of the residences.
So any day of the week, you could walk in and speak to the town manager, where you would have to take a Thursday afternoon off to come see us now. With the town manager, you'll be able to walk in, I believe it's probably going to be Monday through Friday, and speak with a representative from the town right then,
Okay.
which is,
Accessibility.
accessibility is huge.
I've been in this town most all my life so far. And what I'm wondering is, the town really hasn't grown of great consequence.
Last year, the town, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
Last year, the town grew by more than 3%, and this year is looking like that as well. Three-
So what is that measurable that says we are so big that we've outgrown the select board and we need an additional person? What is that driver? Because I've been here my whole life and I don't see a whole lot of different things. But I my myopic view, so what is that driver?
For me, personally, I think it's the fact of, like you said, putting a performance standard somewhat, the grants. Because the taxes, we all know, have taken a hit in the last few years. And coming down the pipeline, that's an understatement. Coming down the pipeline, we've got a lot of big-ticket items that we are either ready to disperse or are just gonna stop running. Fire trucks, town trucks, there's just a lot coming down. Our hope is that the town manager, with the grant writing, will be able to take some of the burden off the people. And I was fortunate to speak with the Standish town manager that a month or two ago, to date, was $650,000 in grants she's got for the town. That's a pretty huge impact on for this town, and that's my hopes, is that he or she could take the burden off of some of us.
So can we say that the town manager is potentially going to lower taxes? Is that another measurable performance indicator in their job description?
Yeah, because, I mean, think about it, if we're paying them, or her, he, $100,000 at max, and they bring in $1 million for the town, that was a investment very well spent.
It may be, but that doesn't, the $1 million coming in doesn't necessarily lower people's taxes. So I want to make sure my question is clearly understood.
Right.
Lowering the tax burden for everybody else.
Yeah.
So that, is that part of their job requirement?
The tax isn't.
I would have to say probably no, honestly, really. Because grants come in for different reasons.
Absolutely.
And they have to be used for certain things.
But I guess what I'm getting at is we're going to hire somebody that's going to improve efficiency in running our town.
Yes.
That efficiency should equate to how many dollars less in tax burden. Yes? So I think that's
Yes.
a performance indicator that we ought to consider. If we're going to spend some money, that we would get potentially a tax reduction.
That would be our hope, but, that would be very difficult to put a percentage number on without them knowing.
There's a goal. You could put a goal.
Yeah, we could do a goal, absolutely, yeah. I don't know if we could stick a number on it, but yes, up to a percentage or whatever. But yes, certainly, we're always, and that's the thing, we're looking at what comes in across our desk. And there are things that we just could be doing, right? And if we were here more, that would be accomplished. So someone that's here 5 days a week, looking at this and giving them measurable goals is an excellent expectation.
Go ahead.
Yes, in the back.
Hi, Tim Bickford, Evergreen Circle. From the statute that the state has as a requirement for this perk, if we do vote on a town manager, it says their purchasing agent shall act as purchasing agent for all departments.
Questions, please, through here.
Can you?
I know it's hard to look at.
That's all right. Can you explain to me exactly how that acts? Whereas right now the board approves expenditures.
Well, yes, we have accounts with different places, right? Napa for parts. Other places for whatever we're purchasing that are going through purchase orders. They would be here in order, and we just talked about tonight at the select board meeting of trying to put contracts together to save the town for fuel or for services, for heating systems, right? That person would be doing that. They would be going out and looking for savings for our town expenditures.
Which I think we'd all be in favor of. I mean, any savings at all. It also says under 12 that they collect data, shall collect data necessary to prepare the budget.
Right.
As I understand the way the budgets are prepared now, each department comes up with their own budget. It's kind of a fox in the henhouse situation. They can just arbitrarily come up with what they think their spending is the way I understand it. And I think that's been the cause of this incredible town growth that we've had, or in expenditures. I've been here for a while. We've been chasing, everyone's like, oh, the school budget, the school budget. We finally surpassed the school budget. Our municipal spending is higher than what we're spending at the schools.
Yes.
We're the only town in York County, the only town in SAD 6 that has that honor. It's a pretty big burden we're putting on the taxpayers, I think, and I don't know it's sort of a self-fulfilling. The government, they start growing. Once you hire, then they have to find a position. Somebody's hired, they got to justify their position. And the spending just seems to be growing. Well, it is growing, actually.
Yes.
Compared to other historically high expenses
Yes.
that relate to our taxes. And you're confident, that the town manager would be able to rein this in, perhaps? And get us down into a low, we all want a lower level. I find it really hard for us to keep spending higher than the schools are.
Yes. One of the issues came about with the cross-the-board reevaluation. By doing that, it made our town valuation high in the state's eyes, high in the county's eyes, and high in the school board's eyes. So that's how we got that declaration of how much.
My understanding is we did an internal reevaluation of the town.
Correct.
We did not hire an outside
Right.
evaluator licensed to do such evaluations.
Correct.
We know we have to do that every 10 years. And what I was told was we didn't have it in the budget, didn't want to spend the $300,000 or whatever it was proposed to do that.
That was before me.
If we should, and that created, where we are now.
Yes. It's not all of it, 50% of it.
Sure, we can call it 50% of it. Or, if the town's spending this, the taxes are going to go up to cover it.
Yes.
The evaluation.
That's right.
We could evaluate a house at $1, then we'll raise the mill rate to $10 million.
Exactly right, yes, sir.
It's really comes down to what we're spending.
Yes, that it is, every budget line is important. So I am grateful to see this group assemble tonight to hear all of these concerns. Because when you go section by section and all those hands go up because you want services, it's how many services and what can we afford as a town, as an individual taxpayer. It's important. It's important to come out and listen, be here, and be informed so that when town meeting comes, you've got your ducks in a row and what you want. It's our job to convey that and make sure it's communicated well to everybody. Now, back to the town manager. They will be overseeing, right, those numbers.
Well, a really big one is collect data necessary to prepare the budget.
Well, that's legalese.
That's in the stat.
I know.
Well,
but-
legalese, that's what.
But collecting data
doing
to
tonight.
form the budget is
Don't interrupt, please.
the last, every single town report we have, Look at last year's town report. Look at what everybody, department heads wants. I see them working with the Financial Advisory Committee, right?
Sure.
So, in order to form the budget, or at least have input for the budget. And by collecting that data, bringing it to everybody, the select board, the financial committee, and the townspeople of what they're presenting to spend.
Well, I mean, if this goes through, or if we vote tonight, it's an awesome responsibility that unfortunately the three of you are going to be held to.
Well, that's
because you're
really
the
what
one
we do
appointing the
anyway.
person.
I mean, we're going over last year's budgets, this year's budget, and next year's preliminary numbers. That's what we're doing now.
I think it would do great if you could reassure people of the town that the person you would be looking for would be very fiscally responsible.
Yes.
And
Yes.
conservative, because the growth of the town, York County's Department of Labor growth is 2.8% per year. It's gone as high as 3.1. The town's growth rate in the last 6 years has exceeded 10%, 12%, 17% tax increase one year. That means 3.5 times, 4 times the wage growth. So I'm not sure if I'm for it or against it. I like the idea, but that person to me is gonna have a lot of responsibility with spending in the town, and it's gonna be extremely important who we find to do that job.
That is exactly right.
All right, thank
I
you.
agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bonnie, I'm going to ask people who haven't spoken yet. Ma'am, yes. One of the things is that everyone gets to ask a question first, and then if you've asked your question, you have a second one, we have to let the first timers go before you do. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Susan Russell on 480 Sand Pond Road. I wanted to go back to the town manager thing about the grants. And they spoke of having that as part of the job and all that. Has anybody considered just getting a grant writer as a per diem thing or whatever? It would fall under just having someone hired to write a grant for whatever thing is pending.
We have looked into grant writers in the past, but we haven't come up with anything that was viable or something that we could actually maintain. When it comes right down to it, there's a lot of grants out there, and a town manager would be very busy filling out grants and presenting them to the right authorities for approval. And while we could just hire on a grant writer to write grants, it would be nearing what it costs to actually just hire a town manager. And regardless of the grant writing, we really could use a town manager to help with human resources and to help provide accessibility to the people for the town.
So you've actually done the research to see what it would cost to hire these grant writers? I know that people do that as a living.
It's been a little while since I looked into those numbers, but yes, we did look into it, and we're talking about paying somebody around $60,000 a year to do grant writing. Now, if they were on a per diem basis, now we probably wouldn't be spending $60,000 on, payroll for them, but for every grant that they wrote, however many hours it took them, we would be paying it.
I understand that, but I just want to make sure that you have tried to offset what the cost would be on either side of just having a grant writer versus town manager who's writing grants.
The town also has had a grant writer in the past, and their performance was, needless to say, lackluster.
But then they don't get paid.
Yeah, they didn't do the work, so they didn't get the money, but the fact is that we tried to hire one to write grants for us, and they weren't performing.
But then there's another one to look at.
Right, so, we would then pay another grant writer who may or may not, get a grant approval, and now we've just wasted that money.
Okay. Just seems like a thought to me.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Donna?
Donna Sawyer, Shaving Hill Road. I've been thinking for many days about the responsibility that you three people have. You've got to figure out what you need for experience. You need to know, well, exactly what are they going to do? How do we find the right person? And that's difficult. It's difficult here in the office getting people to do the jobs we have. And at first, I want to tell everybody, I think I am pro-town manager. I have worked for this town for 12 years. And I came from another town that I'd worked 10 years. The other town that I worked in had a town council and town manager running the town. I wasn't a kid while I was there working, I was an old lady, and you have a lot of wisdom. And towns seem to hire people in their 40s and their 50s. So what I'm leading to is, the town that I worked for had a town manager. Every single day that town manager worked, he saved that town money. He joined a group of town managers, and they bounced ideas off each one. Well, I've got this issue, how did you deal with it? And I was in his office one day when we had a long conversation about this. I personally feel that $100,000 is not enough. And I know everybody here in the audience probably doesn't agree with that. This person, you get what you pay for. If you want to go 90,000, 100,000, keep in mind, town managers are paid over, I believe, now I haven't researched this, Mr. Bickford, I think we probably maybe should start then at 100,000 and go from there. But that person, for instance, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the town had quite a burden of legal fees. Those had to be paid, caused by probably prior administrations. And we're not attorneys. We don't know how to run towns. Everybody does the best they can. The reason I'm for a town manager is I want to make sure the hiring process is done and done right. And I feel it should be more than the three of you people sitting there in the chairs. Sure, you're running this town, but if you ever been a CEO of a Fortune 500, you know, you need help. I do know that the town of Standish, when I left, had a town manager. A couple of years after I retired, they went through, I want to say, 3 more town managers in 3 or 4 years. It could have been 2, I think it was 3. Kaboom, kaboom. I don't know who did the hiring, I don't know anything about it. I can tell you right now that the town of Standish is being run very efficiently. Now, they did come out and they've got a lot of bonds I've been seeing in the shopping guide. Well, we're running for this, we're doing that. It's my understanding that all of that was well thought out. And the town, everybody is extremely happy with their 4th town manager, or 3rd one, after Gordon Billington got done. I'm hoping that you will, I don't know if you're allowed to get a town manager from another town to help you in the prior, or help you go through the resumes and no, this one doesn't have the right skill. This one does, put it on this pile. It's a game of being very careful what you do. And I think everybody in this town is watching. My taxes went up $1,300 this year. I went from $200 a month budgeting to $300 a month budgeting for my taxes. All I can say is I'm glad I had extra cash in the budget. So now that I've said that, I think when I say we're looking at this skill, the 3 of you have to come up with the skills that you think are the most needed, and we're putting that in your hands. No job description has been written yet. Why?
Questions through the moderator, Donna.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, moderator.
She knows.
I'm wondering why there hasn't been a job description, or is it too early?
We won't have a job description until until the town votes to do this town manager plan, at which point we will coordinate with the town's attorney, Ben McCall, to go over what exactly the town wants from the town manager for the job description. And as far as the actual hiring process goes, we're also going to discuss that with him as well, because like Tammy had said, the select board could be in charge of doing the hiring process. However, there are also a couple of other options.
What are the other options?
We can have a committee formed of different members of the community, depending on what we're looking for from that committee. There's also consultation groups that will go through the hiring process to vet the proper individuals for the position. We just need to know if the town is going to go with this town manager plan before we can get into that nitty-gritty with the attorney.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm not done talking yet, moderator. Can I say some more?
Yes, you may ask some more questions, please.
As far as being here every day, I think that's a good thing for the town, that a town manager comes in, educates themselves to all the departments. No one's doing that now. We all have bosses, we kind of work, we know what we need to do, we're a very seasoned staff. And I mean, I've been here 12 years and I know what I have to do and I do it. Let me just see, I got a lot of questions here.
Well,
Is it
I'm
go-
going to ask you to stick to questions instead of expanding on your personal experience, if you will, because we have other people that want to ask
I
questions
thought
as well.
maybe people would like to hear some of that background, sorry. Like I say, I'm for a town manager, and my department that I work in is not costing the town money, and the code office pays for itself, and planning does too. And one more thing, I think Tammy said, it, when you need something, you need it at the town. A year and a half ago, the EMTs came to my house, and my husband was almost ready to expire. Here I am doing these personal things. You don't know you need something till you really need it. And they saved my husband's life. And he is standing today because competent people from this town came to my house at the suggestion of Patty Ramsdale.
Okay, all right,
I called her up and she says, call rescue.
okay. Do you have
Thank-
another question?
I think that does it for me.
Okay, thank you. Yes, in the, sure. Roxanne.
Roxanne Harriet, Coffin Hill Road. Will we still be having town meeting as we do now with the town manager?
Absolutely, yes. That is a vital part of the government functioning in this town. It's just that instead of doing select board town meeting form, it'll be select board town manager town meeting.
Will he be responsible for filling out all the state and federal reports, like the municipal valuation return, tree growth reports, the state recycling report?
That depends on the job description that we finally land on. There is a possibility that some of those duties will be designated to that position.
Okay. I asked because putting 20 years in as a selectman's assistant, those jobs were always the select person's job. And they, with people coming every year, changing every year, it ended up being my responsibility to do those jobs. Well, now they seem to have been forwarded to the town clerk. She does not have time to do all these reports, so I was wondering if that was going to be in his job description, that he would do these reports. Because the selectman's assistant had done them, and it was a selectman's job at the time.
Yep, like I said, depending on each one of those particular things, they may be designated to the town manager. However, figuring that out, we'll need to speak with the attorney to make sure that we're making the proper call as per the job description.
Okay. Have you considered a committee to help with the procedure in hiring a town manager?
It is under consideration, and like I had said a little earlier, if the town does decide to go with this town manager plan, we will consult with the town attorney to decide whether or not it will be the select board or a committee or a consulting firm that will end up doing the actual vetting and hiring of the individual.
We pay a lot of money to Maine Municipal for their advice and stuff, and they are with the community for towns. Is there a reason why we are spending so much money on the town attorney instead of going through Maine Municipal with a lot of this?
The town attorney is more specific to our town operation. They know more of the details regarding our town, while MMA can give us a general guideline of what we can or should do. To be specific to our town, we really need to work with our specific attorney.
Okay. I remember back when this first started, quite a few years ago, Maine Municipal came down and done a whole presentation to the select board in regards to how to hire a town manager, what's necessary and everything. Have you checked with Maine Municipal on all this to find out their procedures and what they can help you with?
We have talked a little bit with Maine Municipal, but not into as great a detail as you're looking for right now.
Okay, because like I said, they did come down and sat with the selectmen and went through the whole process, and it might be something you want to consider, but I know you people don't like to use Maine Municipal. Guess that's it.
Thank you, Roxanne. Anyone else? Yes, I see a hand in the back. You're next. Yes.
Hi, Dick Jarrett, Tucker Road. I'll be brief. It was more of a suggestion. And that is, when the Saco River Corridor Commission was founded, they had a problem. They wanted to hire an executive director, and they had no money. So they made it part of the job description and got candidates. The candidate they hired was Carl Laws. They got candidates who were expected to raise the money for their own salary. And you could make this part of the job description, that they are expected, they may not make it, but they are expected to raise the money for their salary. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, in the, wait a minute, is there anyone else that hasn't asked a question? Yes, the lady in the back. I'm sorry, Roxanne, we're going to have the first questioners first. Oh, I'm sorry. I will call you next. I'm sorry.
Hi. Deb Penny, Boothby Road. Madam Moderator, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
These three people are the select people for the town. They work part-time, each of them, and they're telling us that it's too much for the amount of time that you spend, excuse me, approximately 6 hours a day. They
6
need
hours
someone.
a week, they're saying 6 hours
A week.
A week, I'm sorry. That they need help. This is what they're saying. I'm understanding this correctly, right? I have the one question.
Mhm.
Do they feel we need this?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So whether or not we think it's going to cost us money, all the different parameters involved about the hiring, the choosing, all this stuff is really not the point. The point is we need this to make our town run more efficiently and to be accessible to everyone. Because I know myself, I can't always find the help when I want it, and I understand why, knowing that they only get 6 hours a week to spend. And I know that if you look at jobs, you're going to get a lot better performance out of a full-time person than out of a part-time person. No offense intended. It's just because of the nature of having full-time. So it's kind of a statement, kind of a question. Just want people to kind of realize what they're asking is for help to do a better job, to have someone kind of pull everything together. And I can understand that. That's how businesses run. It's very difficult when you have 3 part-time people trying to make one full-time town work. That's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ma'am, you had a question, yes?
Christina Silvestri, Hardscrabble Road. I'm going to keep this super brief. As a mother, my entire family is here, so childcare is difficult. I had to bring him. That makes it hard for other folks who might be in the same position that I am for these meetings and knowing all your facts and getting there. But in this aspect, I'm asking if we can move the vote to the voting now.
I would suggest that there are other people that still have questions to be asked.
I feel like a lot of those questions have been answered, and
Well-
at this point in the night, I can no longer stay because of my child. He needs to get home, he needs to go to bed, and I would like to vote, but now I cannot.
Well, let's see how many questions there, how many people there are to ask that haven't had their questions asked, okay?
Thank you.
Did I see somebody in the front row? Yes, Roxanne, one more time, yep.
Roxanne, 3 Coffin Hill Road. I have just one more question. You haven't given very many answers to the questions tonight regarding the job description or what this person's going to do. Will the townspeople be given a chance to see the job description and stuff before you hire somebody?
In other words, will there be a public hearing, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the reason why we haven't been, we don't want to, our time, we're not trying to waste the time until we know that everybody is all for this. Because if it votes no, then we would have been wasting time in office and trying to do other things. So that's why we can't answer the questions. We haven't given it 100%. If this vote passes, we will definitely get to the nitty-gritty, and you guys will definitely have the end result, say, when we come up with a job description.
All right, are there other questions that, yes, if you can make it brief, please. We do have another article to get to.
Ron Russell, 480 Sampoin Road. I'm against this entire matter, primarily because my taxes went right through the roof. The second thing is, why not expand the selectmen to 5 and give each individual an opportunity? You say one takes a Monday, one takes a Tuesday, one takes a Wednesday, and so forth. Rather than hiring a $100,000 guy who may or may not work out. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm not supposed to say anything, but it's very hard to get people to step forward and volunteer for anything in this town. Yes, I know I'm out of order, but thank you.
And the select board has to meet as a group, so we couldn't expand it to multiple days. We've talked multiple times about trying to come up with a second day to make us available, and I work full-time. We all work, so, I take half my day off from work on Thursdays to come here. It's hard as a full-time, my wife and I run a few businesses as well, so it's very hard. And there's nobody breaking down the doors to come do these jobs either, so, I mean.
Truthfully, none of us are lawyers, and doing human resources for a municipality has a lot of subtle guidelines and rules behind it that make it difficult for the select board to effectively do that job. Having a town manager is designed to keep the town from getting into lawsuits, which can end up ultimately raising your taxes.
All right, I'm going to ask that we, Judy, did you want, yes, please.
Judy Weymouth, The Long Way, Limington. We need a town manager. We're in the first quarter of the 21st century, and Limington needs to join the 21st century. These people do the best job that they can do, but they are not trained in municipal law. They have jobs that Jason just pointed out. They have jobs that they have to take time off to be here and try to help us out. And it's not working anymore. The demands are greater. We want more services, and they cost more. And the town of Sebago, which had maybe 6,000 plus or minus residents 20 years ago, had a full-time town manager. And I truly believe a town manager can save his or her salary in a year's time by applying for grants and also just coordinating all the things that need to be coordinated instead of piecemeal stuff here and there, that just keep a better rein on our expenses and our needs. And I'm all for it, and I can't wait for it to happen. And yes, my taxes went up too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move forward. I think we probably had all the answers and questions. So, is somebody that hasn't asked a question? Yes, if you'd like to ask.
Good evening. Kevin Martell from Ospey Trail down here in Limington. There's a couple of questions, and one thing I'm really upset over is the taxes. And I know everybody's taxes are going up, but mine has doubled in 4 years. I've never heard of that. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. I went from 3,500 to almost 8,000.
So what's your question? What's the question?
Eventually, I've got to do something. And you want to spend another $100,000 for a town manager. I didn't realize that the selectmen only work 6 hours a week.
Do you have a question?
I'm leading up to the question. And I just can't believe that 6 hours a week you can run a town. That's a lot. I mean, I would think that if we hire a selectman, that they would put more time in. And more time would take care of some of the problems. And I'm not in favor of a town manager because of the spending. And when you try to bribe somebody by throwing in the grants and the bonds and all the things that you might get and you might not get to try to get a vote, I think that's wrong, okay? I don't know who came up with that idea.
Do you have a question?
I think that's a bribery.
Do you have a question, please?
Yep, I got a question. So if we hire a town manager at 100,000, and that's just a guess, could be 120,000, that guarantees our taxes to go up, which nobody in this room, I don't think, would like it at all after what we've seen in the last couple of years. So I'm thinking, if you do want to hire a town manager, I think maybe you ought to cut your budget $100,000 and pay the town manager by cutting your budget, not taking it out of the people. I think the people are tired of you taking out of their wallets every single year. It just keeps going up and up and up. So I'm against it.
Thank you. All right, we are going to move the previous question now. The question being, Article 2, to see if the town will vote to change the form of government from select board to a, quote, town manager plan, quote, according to MRS Title 30A, Chapter 123, Section 2631. Now we're going to count this right there. So all those in favor of the article, please stand up.
How do we know we're all residents?
I guess because I have determined that we have had the questions answered.
I know pretty much who's resident. I only see like 3 non-residents here.
Okay, so wait a minute, everybody, stay standing, those of you who are pro, and we're going to count row by row. So Patty, you want to count the first row? If you are for this article, please stand up and stay standing until everyone has been counted. We're going to do it row by row, just so there's such a mix of people, we get it accurate. So the first row is 6. No, oh, the little boy, no, 5. 5. Okay, the first row can sit down, please. The second row.
11.
Oh, wait a minute.
I included Bonnie.
You included Bonnie?
Yeah, I included Bonnie. I thought she was in that row.
There's a row behind that.
Right, 6 and 5 is 11.
Oh, okay, all right. So are you telling me that row 3 should sit down, Patty?
No.
Oh, you're adding the total in your head,
Yeah.
should go on.
11.
Okay, so row
12,
3.
13.
Okay, 2 more is 13, all right. Now the next row is
14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
okay, that row may sit down.
19, 20, 21. 22, 23.
Okay, that row may sit down.
Deb.
And the next row that's pro,
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Larry, you and Bev, come, 20, 30, 31, yep.
okay, you may sit down.
32, 33, 34, 35, 36.
36 are pro. I would ask those who are nay to please stand up. And we'll once again do it row by row. All right, the first row no, and the second row 1.
2, 3, 4,
You
5.
may sit down.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, 10. Thank you. So Patty, the official vote is?
36-10.
36 to 10, the article passes. Thank you. We'll move on to Article 3. Article 3 reads, to see if the town will vote to spend up to $150,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund and authorize the Select Board to purchase trucks for the Public Works Department. Is there a motion? Jason. Second, Steve. Select Board. Who's going to speak to this on the Select Board?
Jason, did you want to speak to this?
Oh, sure, sorry. So the town, we had a third-party inspection unit come in and do a inspection of all the fire apparatus and the town apparatus. That enlightened us to the fact that we currently, going into winter, have the two 550s. We have the Mack, the black Mack. We lost the orange, and pardon me because I don't know the numbers of the trucks, but we lost the orange wheeler. The three blueberries, or the blue trucks, weren't even worth looking at for inspection purposes. We do have the other truck that Sean has made into a plow truck from the old fire truck. But that one hasn't been used yet, so I hope it works as it should. But we haven't physically plowed with that. So right now, we have two 550s and one single wheeler to plow 100 miles of road in this town. And
Wait a minute.
what we're looking for is up to $150,000, and we sat with the Public Works Department, and we all come to agreement that one used wheeler and one single axle dump, which would both be fully outfitted with plows, wings, and sanders. And that is in the case, we've been very fortunate in the last 5 years. We've had a pretty easy winter. Maine, you never know. We could end up blizzard after blizzard. If we lose the Mack, we lose our biggest truck in the fleet. And if we lose the motor, then we're down to two 550 units. And we get a snowstorm of 2.5 feet, I think we're in trouble. And it's not just the roads won't be cleared. It's going to be brutal. It's not, I know the questions of town meeting, I did watch town meeting, that was shot down because they wanted to buy a new 550. And what we're looking here is two updated used units. I've been able to go up to Whitney's and looked at some of the refurbs that they got, and it's a very cost-effective way to keep the money down. I know my taxes doubled like everybody else's. I get it. I really do. It's just for so long everything's been put off, and the town is approaching the fact that it's just the stuff is old and worn out. The Public Works have polished it and welded it, and it's come to the end of its life. And I feel that, if we overexert the one we have right now, we're gonna be in even more trouble. I think that sums up the basic thought process here. We're not looking for new units. Are in $350,000 to $400,000 for a wheeler. That's a dual axle dump with the integrated sander and a wing and a plow. And that, so that instead of $750,000, $800,000, we're going to try to look for a couple of used to get us out beyond the 5-10 year plan that the finance committee is trying to set us up on.
Okay.
This is not new money either.
No.
This was set aside, it's in the financial reserve, I call it a reserve, improvement account. And so because the town did not vote, they voted no on the $150,000 at town meeting in March, that money's still sitting there. We wanted to be able to bring that to you to vote on again, rather than saying, you know, hey, the money's sitting there, let's just go buy trucks. I believe, and so do others, that you guys give us the okay to buy the trucks. So that's why we're here, asking you. It's not more money out of your pocket, it's in the financial improvement account right now. It wasn't used in March, we're asking to use it now.
Okay, are there questions in the audience? I see the first hand up in the back.
Jeff Gammon, 31 Moody Road. I've been here 50, 60 years. When Pulsifer started plowing snow, seen it all work, till they took over doing it at the town. I was here last year and I asked them, why don't you put it out to bid? Previous selectman has been at that table and said, the reason Limerick's taxes are cheaper, Hollis taxes are cheaper, because they put it out to bid. There is a lot of contractors that dig dirt all summer. Come winter, there's frost in the ground. They have to lay their employees off. Instead of that, they'd love to put in a bid to plow the town, keep them working. No, we buy $55,000 lifts for the garage. We got a nice big grader we got. Did you forget about that one? We have a big grader that we put thousands of dollars in to get out 117 once. I mean, let's put it out to bid. Would you rather keep your guys working all winter long or lay them off and pay their unemployment? It doesn't cost a dime to put that in a shopper's guide like you did this tonight, looking for bids to plow the town. Hollis does it. Limerick does it. They ain't gonna do it if they're losing money. Why do we want to buy more trucks? Why do we want to run it, pay the light bill in that garage, heat it, tools, fuel, insurances? Let somebody else do it. You just write the check. You're bonded, I think it's $1 million. If they fail, you call the state. They send in plow trucks. You pay them out of the bond. Don't cost the town a dime. Why wouldn't we do this? I said it at town meeting. Why don't we do it? Don't cost nothing. Why do we want to spend this money on trucks and more employees? Lay them off in the winter. Keep the road commissioner.
Okay.
That's my point.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Want to answer that?
I did speak with Standish, and I haven't put much time, I'll be right up front, I haven't put much time into that, Jeff. When I spoke with Standish, one, they couldn't find, they got one bid, and that one route, just one route with salt and not removal, was $350,000 for that one route. Now, that you get multiple routes, I mean, we got 100 miles of road. It could get very, very pricey. I mean, I don't know where the rest of the board stands. I mean, asking, I guess, wouldn't hurt to see what we could get for a bid, if any. Because I know a lot of people, like when I talk to the Whitneys, the Whitneys themselves got out of plowing. It's just a lot of places, the towns, it's the new age, and everybody has a Department of Public Works, and that's what everybody's gone with. So there's not many outfits that do the contracted plowing. And the ones that don't, I do know, a personal friend of mine just got into it and contracted one route, $300,000 per year, 3-year contract. And they had to go out and they're buying all, because they didn't have equipment. They had to go out, they're buying the equipment. Now, if their equipment breaks, right, but it doesn't immediately fix the problem. If they falter, and then we're in the middle of a storm, we got 2 feet of snow on the ground, and they don't show up, I mean, it's not like it's an emergent, instantly we're gonna have the state of Maine there to plow us and get everybody free. So then we're gonna be looked, there's gonna be a lot of people calling the office, I believe, saying, hey, I can't get out. So, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons, absolutely.
Jeff, we're going to let another person before,
Yeah.
then I'll come back to you.
But I will say, I can ask and see if we can get at least some rough ideas. Yeah, no, I totally I agree.
I mean, all of us in Limerick must worry about the same thing, that their contractor struck rates. They're gonna be
Yep.
sitting down.
Okay, thank you. Roxanne, I see you here.
I hope you do look into that. I hope you do look into that. My question is, it's not a question, but when I was in the office, when this all started, when we had to get the plow trucks and stuff, have you checked with the state on the state auction for trucks? Because that's how we first got our trucks. And that auction is usually in September, so.
Yes, I'm on GovPlanet, what the state of Maine goes through for their auctions, because I buy cars, I'm a dealer. And the stuff that they're selling is definitely something this town does not want to buy. They're pretty much just worn out, you know. It makes our stuff look a little better, honestly. Yeah, I have been, and I watch it literally weekly, Roxanne, and there's nothing that's popped up that's even remotely worth looking at.
Anyone else have a question? Yes, in the gray shirt.
Alan Burgess, 35 Osprey Trail. If we've got $150,000 in the bank that nobody's used, why are my taxes still going up? I'm just as mad as anybody else about my taxes going up. So why hasn't that just been reimbursed? Can we not do that? Is that not policy?
Okay.
I mean, $150,000, if it's already sitting there, and it's been sitting there since March, then why couldn't we get a discount?
The town's finances are split into two groups. One is general operations, the others is capital improvement. When it comes to an item that isn't already part of the town, we go to the capital improvement fund to purchase that equipment. Things like fire trucks, large items that need to be purchased for the town, the money for those purchases comes from the capital improvement fund. The thing is that this capital improvement fund is constantly needing to be replaced. In our warrant articles at our March meetings, there is a warrant article that asks how much money the town wants to put into the capital improvement funds. This money then goes to pay for the 5-year plans for capital improvements that our different department heads set forth. Obviously, it requires a vote by the people to allocate that money to that particular item. But that is why we have two accounts, one for
Don't they
general.
have their own budget?
They have their own budget, but when it comes to the purchase of these large equipment pieces, it's not factored into their general budget, because you have their general budget, which is approved, but then we'll have separate article items for the capital improvement items, which is essentially what happened at the March meeting when the town voted to approve the Public Works Department budget, but did not approve of the purchase of the trucks.
Okay, but if every department has a 5-year plan, that isn't any of that being overlapped into the following season or the following year? I mean, where is that money actually going?
The money sits in the capital improvement funds until it has been allocated for a particular item.
And voted on by the town.
If we can't just, you know, I wish we could, but we just can't spend $800,000 on a new engine and $400,000 on a rescue and $700 for trucks. So what that plan does is that money gets allotted over the years, and that's how we try to save to buy this, so we don't come and go, hey, taxes are going up $500,000. It's crazy. I understand, but
It is crazy because
that's where that's how that money works. We try to save it over the period of time.
Sorry.
No,
I
go right
didn't
ahead.
interrupt.
No, you're good.
Another point I'd like to make is that the town has already decided that it didn't want the town officials to be, taking out debts to pay for these items. So, we have the money available to buy the item, or we don't buy the item.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just upset that my taxes are going up. I'm upset when my mortgage lender calls me and says, hey, you don't have enough money in there. My insurance is going up. I'm tired of freaking paying. I'm tired of paying. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I see someone else's hand out there? Yes. Yes.
Rich Page, Joe Joy Road. Just to reiterate what Jeff was saying, and just for clarity, the question, are we gonna put the plow contract out for bid? That's a yes or no.
I don't think you can answer that with a yes or no. I think the answer was that they are going to look into it.
I don't understand that answer.
We can look for different companies that might be willing to put bids out.
Okay.
We can ask for estimates of what a bid for a particular thing might cost. But as far as, actually signing a contract for a bid on something like that, there's no plan to, because we don't know what the numbers.
Right now, the predicament we in, if we put it out to bid, we don't have money to pay him.
Well, what it'd be nice to see is an analysis of, I've got a bid, it cost me X amount to run my road crew per month, the bid is X, what's it look like? So we're looking for that level of comparison to save money.
No, I agree with you. I see what.
Yeah, it could be something the town manager does.
Yeah, well, however it works. Now, the other question I had is just for clarity, how many miles of road do we have in Limington?
I believe Sean said it was 100 miles of roadway we plow.
Plus or minus 100 miles of road.
Closer to.
Like 67 or something like that, right?
Is that what? Okay,
67,
then.
68 miles. Okay, just want to be clear.
I apologize. I've been misinformed.
I don't believe that's accurate.
Well, Sean should know.
Yes, Jason.
Jason Smith, Morgan Lane. I didn't do that the last time I was up here because I was just yelling at you about your mic. But I have lots of questions.
Let's keep the conversation, please, so we can hear what
Just
speaker
a
is saying.
point of clarification, we don't have $150,000 sitting in account for plow trucks. We have $150,000 plus a bunch of other hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in a capital reserve account that's not slated for anything.
Correct.
So we do not have plow truck money. We have money for capital funds. So I just wanted to make that clear because I've heard, I think not picking on you, Timmy, but you're the one that came up with it.
Well, I'm saying that it was in the town meeting for trucks, specifically for trucks,
And we voted it down.
and we voted it down.
Right, so
Yes.
this same article we voted on 6 months ago in March, and the townspeople, well, I thought it was more than what was here, but I think we've got quite a few here tonight. That was kind of part of my thing coming here tonight, is that doing this at a special town meeting, we just voted no on it in March. And now here we are voting on the, it's different, but it's still $150,000 from plow trucks. The specific type of truck, I guess, is what's different. But we don't have $150,000 in that account for plow trucks. There's money in that account. But the money in that account is also for a new fire truck, a new ambulance. We've heard about new buildings. We've heard about, there's so many capital improvement items there. So I just wanted to make that point. And then the other question I have is, we have at least 2 of the trucks down there, the blue ones, have inspection stickers on them that go till January sometime. But we didn't even bother looking at them to re-inspect them this summer. Is that what I heard you say?
Correct. The 3 blue ones are quite rusty, and we went around with Sean, looked at them, and deemed that it's the amount of money that it's going to cost to try to keep these things going is going to far surpass trying to replace it now.
And does that include the orange one, the Wheeler that we're
The
talking
orange
about?
one we lost. The only way it passed a state inspection this year was the body had, the side dump for the sander had to be welded shut because the base of that is all rotted, gone. It's virtually, it could be dumped as a dump truck, but to physically decide dump and sand the roads, it's unusable.
but they inspected it and it still goes down the road.
They had to weld the body shut so it couldn't side dump. So the base frame of that dump is good, but the side dump is, I saw it myself personally, the seam is rotted right out.
So one of the things that I believe is going out to bid for surplus equipment is slide-in sanders that we have out back. Couldn't we put one in that truck and use it this winter?
That truck is not going to pass another inspection.
It
That's
also,
another one, but you said it just passed in this summer.
yeah,
Now, wait, in the back, if you have something to say, you will come to the mic. Jason, no, please, Jason. Tammy, you'd like to finish answering.
There was a question.
yeah.
You said it had a sticker on it, so they put a sticker on it this summer.
It does not have a sticker
It
on
does
it.
not, okay, currently, he hasn't been back to put the sticker on it. I know, I was told by Sean that the repairs have been done. It needed a kingpin, the body welded shut, and the frame, the used cross member that was supposed to be put in it to make it pass the Maine State inspection.
And we did that?
And I was told by Sean, yes, that we did do that, because we signed a purchase order for the parts.
So that truck can be used this winter?
Tentative, the frame's getting.
We just put money into it.
Yeah,
and
no, we
got
put money in
an
it to use it as a dump truck, to use as a secondary for an actual dump truck.
But it's got a plow on it and a wing.
It has a plow and wing, yes.
And we can put a sander in the back of it.
I don't know where he stood
Because
with
that's what we
sander.
do with the Mac, right? The Mac doesn't have a four-season body on it.
No, the Mac gets a
We put
drop-in sander, correct.
Drop-in sander,
Yep.
and we have some.
Yep. We do have we have, I think, 2 down there.
So then, at least 2 of the blue trucks have inspection stickers that are on them good until January. Can we use those till the end of January?
It's gonna be deciphered from our Public Works employees that have CDLs, if they're gonna wanna drive them. Because their license is on the line, and we've had some issues with the trucks. That's why they went out to a third party, because they feel that they're unsafe, and looking at them, some of them are pretty rough. So, and I don't have a CDL, I can't say yes or no, and I'm not a commercially licensed inspector. But my information comes from Sean directly on the trucks, and the amount that they've been putting in to these trucks have been, I think, a fair amount. I believe we just put a new rear end in, was it Markey's, the Mac? We just put we blew a rear end, the last or the second to last storm. So they're getting old. I mean, I believe that's through $3,000, $3,500-ish. You know, it's starting to, if we lose an engine, we lose the motor in that, we're down. You know, and that's the wheeler, that's the big truck. Now, is the other one is rough. I mean, as a person that works on vehicles, that's in rough shape, and that's my personal opinion. Seeing the rust under the body was pretty eye-opening.
The trucks were rough when we bought them. I get that they've got 10 more years on them at least now. We bought the blueberries before I even lived in town, but again, the biggest problem is that the town people voted this down in March at a regular town meeting, and now that we're trying to get it through at a special town meeting, I guess what has changed? Are the trucks more unsafe now than they were in March? How come we didn't hear about this in March?
I can't answer in March, I wasn't here.
We're still not hearing about it from the Public Works Director.
The change for us as the board is the inspections. You know, we had New England Diesel come in and do an inspection, and he was just straight to the point. The Mac is okay, we got maybe a year or 2, if that, out of that one. But the orange one is rough. The blueberries weren't even worth looking at. And we do have the current sticker on the one he's built into a new truck. But like I said, it hasn't been plowed, so we gotta wait to make sure this thing operates as it should.
So you mentioned the one that he built last year and a half. I mean, don't we have one sitting out here with a fire truck body on it that could be the exact same thing that we did with that one? I mean, Sean's been telling us, our Public Works Director has been telling us for years that he doesn't want to buy old plow trucks. Tonight, we're in here saying we want to buy old plow trucks because for some reason, this one out here isn't good enough. This is a fire truck, which is what he just put together out here.
But it's a
We already
30-year-old
have-
fire truck.
But it's in better shape than anything down there, except for maybe the new fire
And you want to
truck.
pay men to build a new plow truck when the
Yes.
last one hasn't even been on the road to plow yet?
I don't understand why it isn't.
We don't either.
Sean told us at the.
We don't either.
Sean told us at the town meeting.
We've asked to have it loaded up and used.
Yeah.
Truck
doesn't work. So,
All right,
Sean.
wait until you come to the mic.
Sean told us at last March's meeting that it was too pretty to plow with.
Then you ask him why it's not on the road. When we had a truck sitting on Beaver Berry Road for 2 weeks, broke down, why we didn't immediately put plows and sander on that truck and put that into use. Why didn't we use it then, when we needed it the most?
I can't ask him, he's not, did you guys, did the select board ask him?
We asked him to be here.
We've,
I mean, he's not here, that's kind of telling.
I can't
I don't know
speak
what
for-
it's telling, but.
Yeah, I can't speak for
We're
the.
not going to get personal. We are not
Yeah.
going to get personal.
But no, I don't know, I've been told that it operates as it should. Now, I have not seen it. I'm just, my personal, I've been told it works, I haven't seen it work yet. I've seen it tow the trailer, but I haven't seen, I physically, personally, I don't know if anybody else has, I have not seen the body dump, I have not seen it with a plow on it or the wing.
Okay, I mean, I can't answer those questions. I'm not Public Works, I'm not Select, but I do know that we have a truck out here, and we already have the body and gear to go to it, and we've already voted to build the truck. Sean just needed, Public Works Director just needed a good chassis. We have one, and if that goes out to bid, what are we gonna get, $1,500 for that? It's a lot better served as a plow truck for, I mean, there's no rust on the thing. It's got 50,000 miles on it. It's a 200,000 mile truck all day.
I think the other continuing factor is time to build this. We got guys that should be, it's a public works. I mean, my standpoint, the public works should be working for the public, doing work around the town. They're not mechanics. They weren't hired as mechanics or builders or welders. They were hired to drive truck, plow, so it's hard to ask them to spend how many weeks, I don't know. I mean, to build a truck from ground up is, I've been doing this a long time, and I don't think I'd want to tackle it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I asked these questions when we built the first 550 in-house, which was
Yeah.
7, 8 years ago. So I don't know how many long ago it was, but, it's a public works department, or we shouldn't be building trucks, but we've voted on it as a town now, so it's there.
I think to answer your question, the difference is just the fact, we're here, and it's your guys' choice. At the end of the day, that's why we're here. It's a vote, it's a choice. The only difference between that time and now is there's a high probability that we may lose another truck throughout the winter. And for the people of the town, that's gonna, I don't know how we're gonna handle that. Because if we have to emergency hire somebody to come in, I can imagine, it'd be $100,000, $150,000 to plow that route. Just one route, one road, so I don't know.
How many routes are there, and how many trucks do we need?
I don't know exactly. Sean could answer the routes. I guess we got 67 miles of road. So, I mean, 117, we plow for the state, shared road, Cape, the Secocas. 25 is done by the DOT. So
Do you have
I don't have
another
the.
I do have another question.
Okay,
if it's
could
all
you
right.
ask it, please? I think we've had all we need right here.
We have a financial advisory committee. What's their position on this?
They stand behind it 100%, and Steve can speak if he would like to hear his input on it. We've talked extensively last year. It was built into their 5-year comprehensive plan that got bumped another year.
Did they vote on it, this article?
Steve, do you want to?
You want to? Yes, please, if you would, Steve.
I think you can find it in the booklet there, but when the $150,000 was the warrant article for the trucks at 150. I believe you'll find the Financial Advisory Committee supported that unanimously.
Yeah.
I know you're looking.
Yeah. Article 10, to see if the town would vote to approve $150,000 for Public Works Department to come from capital improvements for the purchase of a new 24 F-550. Select Board, 2 in favor. Financial Advisory Committee, 4 in favor. 0 opposed.
Are there any more questions? Yes, the gentleman in the hat, yeah.
So,
Excuse me just a minute. Patty has a question.
Dom, I'm sorry, but you can't speak because you don't live here.
No, you have to live in town. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I didn't know that. Dick, you had a question, and then I'll get to the Ron.
Quick question, Dick Jarrett, Tucker Road. Right now, the trucks haven't broken down. I realize it can be a problem if they did. If the truck broke down, is it possible to rent a truck? Can you go to Hertz, rent a truck, and get a plow truck?
In the middle of winter? Probably not.
During a time when we
Yeah, I
actually
don't know.
needed a
Maybe
plow
check it
truck?
No, we've looked into the possibility, or...
We've already looked at trucks, Dick, when they were plentiful and in good shape, and that was in July, and we've lost the opportunity. They're all gone. The ones that we've looked
That's why I say
at.
rent a truck just for those few storms
No.
that we need one. Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
Maybe we should get a cyber truck. I hear they're stainless steel.
Mark, you have a question?
Mark Ramstel, Staples Road. I work for the town. I have my Class A license. And them trucks are not fit to be on the road. I will not drive them if they don't have a sticker on them. The ones that's got the stickers on them aren't fit to be on the road. If we choose to drive them and something happens, it's our liability. It's the driver. It don't come back to the town. It comes back to the driver because he chose to drive that truck knowing they was not fit to be on the road. So that's why we will not drive them, us guys that's got the Class A and B licenses. And they're not fit to be on the road to be driven. I wouldn't want it driven by my wife and know that I don't know if it's gonna fall apart and run into her or what's gonna happen, because that's how bad they are. Even the orange one that they welded the body down, the frame is all separated. The main frame of the truck is separated. The main frame has been pieced in and they put a piece into it that broke. We did it this summer, we pieced it together. We're no certified welders. We don't know if that's gonna hold. So, the trucks aren't fit to be on the road, and it all boils down to, we had some guy come in, I've been here 5 years. This year was the first year I seen a regular inspection done on these trucks. The guy used to walk around, kick the tires and say, look good, put a sticker on them. Didn't matter what shape they was in. Till Jason went out and got someone this year, and we gotta fix the trucks.
Thank you, Mark. Did I see something? Yes.
Roxanne Herrick, Coffin Hill Road. Can you give me an estimate of how much we use in the brine on the town roads, from the brine?
What has that got to do with, I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
It goes in the plow trucks.
You know, how much we spend on brine, is that, I didn't
I
quite
was
hear
just
your
wondering
question,
if
I'm
they
sorry.
still use the brine.
I don't
is what I'm
believe they
getting at.
use the brine.
They don't use the
Roxanne.
brine.
No, they've
All the
gone
money
to...
we paid for the brine machine and everything, and they don't use it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Tim Ramstel, 30 North Road. If we do vote to buy a truck, who's going to be the person to go out and buy this truck? Qualified to do it? Who's going to do it?
Sean?
Well, I would assume it would have to be our Public Works Director with, he can't drive it.
He has the CDL, why should he be qualified to buy one?
Right.
Why is he even driving town trucks? I'd like to know.
Yeah, I can't answer that, but...
I said we're not going to get personal.
I'm not getting
And
personal, I'm asking
The gentleman was hired
Yeah.
to be a manager and not a CDL driver.
Yeah, so I'd still like to know who's going to purchase these trucks and qualified to buy them.
I would assume that the Public Works employees with the CDLs would also be part of that because they drive them.
I would
You know,
hope so,
I
yeah.
personally know Marky's been doing this for 30, 40, 50 years? 50 years. So, I mean, we respect what they say. They got their licenses. I don't. Sean doesn't. We would have to put a lot on them as well.
Are there other questions that haven't been asked? Yes, ma'am.
Lisa Burgess, 35 Ossipee Trail. At the March meeting, the town voted no. They voted down this article. But I understand the need of the trucks. Is it possible to take these funds from the operating budget and not from the capital account?
Improvement.
We had, the fire truck was inadvertently left off the articles when we were voting, and it was supposed to be on there, but some clerical mistake or something happened and it didn't get on. That's a capital expenditure that I stand behind, $150,000 to start that process. Those trucks are old. The fire trucks go, and the ambulances and everything else benefit the town just as much. Our plowing is important. Everybody needs it. That's a few months of the year. Some years we have a light winter, some winters are tough. But that ambulance and the fire trucks go out year-round. That 150 cap should be going towards the fire truck that they have been trying to put on. Can we amend this article to take that 150,000 from the operating budget? I don't think his operating budget is gone. We had a lot of money in there. Why can't he take some of that from that and not touch our capital fund? It's just not right.
A purchase that big for that kind of equipment needs to come through the capital improvement fund. That is why the capital improvement fund is there. The general operation budget for that department is designed to cover things that are expenditures that the department needs throughout the year. There isn't enough money in the operation budget to cover such an item. If
Do we know how
were-
much is still in there?
I could get you the number from our secretary, if you'd like, but when it comes right down to it, if we were to do that, which we're not supposed to, that money would just, deplete the Public Works Department operating budget, and now they have the trucks, but maybe they don't have the gas, or maybe they can't afford certain repairs. But the truth of the matter is that an expenditure like that must come from the capital improvement fund.
When the budget was made last March, Sean, or whoever did the inspection, should have had foresight to see the trucks were getting in rough shape. That could have been put in the budget last year. The way it was put forth, the town said no. They did not want it. And it's 6 months later, and now suddenly, all the trucks are falling apart. That capital fund should not be used. We need that. That money sits there for things that we plan for, not a sudden, this is like a sudden crisis, and it should not have been. There's no way that vehicle suddenly in 6 months deteriorated. Frames don't separate in 6 months. They can come apart a little bit, but there's not a sudden deterioration.
Right.
We have cars, we
Right.
are familiar with this.
But our Public Works Director, he approached the town, telling the town that these trucks were in rough shape, needed to be replaced, and an article was put forth to whether or not to allow the town to buy plow trucks with $150,000 through capital improvements.
And it was said no.
It's become an issue now
March back there.
because we had the trucks inspected and they didn't get inspected. They're falling apart. And if we put this off any longer, there is a good chance that come this winter, people aren't going to be able to make it out of their driveways.
Maybe.
If we can't plow the roads, then the DOT might have to step in and plow the roads, but all the roads in Limington are of a Class 3 priority, which means that the DOT would plow the Class 1 and the Class 2 roads before they would even get to us.
Again, I still stand by the people said no.
There should have been some alternative. Touching our capital funds is not okay.
That's
It
what the
just
capital
isn't.
funds are for.
Then the fire trucks, their 5-year plan, the fire truck is old, that should be put on there. That 150,000 could start that fund.
I think the fire truck, Lisa, has money in the financial improvement plan anyway. There's
So
mon-
it's already started, that.
It is.
That 5-year plan has already been started for that, because I'm concerned.
Absolutely, yes.
I believe
Yeah,
it's
it is.
350,000. It's either 350 or
Yes,
450.
Lisa, there's still
350,
money there.
350,000 for the fire.
Still money there, but has it been earmarked to start that? Because
Lisa-
it was left off the warrant last year.
Nothing in the capital improvements fund is earmarked until a vote takes place and the people approve it.
Exactly.
Right.
Lisa, to your point, I took our expense summary report that I was given last Monday, and I like to, and I do this at least once a month, is I take what hasn't been expended to make sure we've got enough to go through the rest of the year with that, and I do that on a regular basis. I did it last week, and to your point, Truck 6 maintenance has $72,000 in that line that's unused. We haven't hardly touched that. So I believe that there is probably a great deal of that, a good portion of that. Joyce, can that be amended to come out of a different account?
No, it changes the intent of the article. So we
Okay.
have the
Okay.
choice of voting this down or not, and then coming from a different approach at the next town meeting.
So you're saying that there's like 72,000 or something like that. We have the chassis from the other vehicle, like I just heard that they were gonna put it out to vote, that chassis is in great shape. They say it's old, but old, if that is a truck that's sitting inside and it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, 40,000, 50,000, that is nothing for those chassis. There's no reason that, maybe that money is earmarked for someone to build that plow truck. Maybe not our public works guys, because they're busy, but that money could go to take that running gear and put another truck together. I just don't want, I am against taking it from the capital funds. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ron?
Ron Russell, Sam Pond Road. I have a question, it's more of a point of order. These things keep coming up. We vote something and it's voted down, then it reappears. We just voted in the town manager business. I thought that was voted down. Now,
No,
I guess not.
no.
What I'm concerned about is that people are blindly voting stuff, not really recognizing the ramifications of what we're doing here. If we spend $150,000 for refurbishing plow trucks, it's the same thing that we were talking about with the town manager. There's no guarantee that those trucks will get us through the winter. Is that not correct?
They're not, well,
The trucks would be inspected before we purchase them. We wouldn't purchase a truck that we didn't think was going to last us through at least 5 years or more.
Right, but people have already testified that the trucks were inspected, and some of them have stickers on them. And I don't blame the fellow that has to drive it if he feels it's unsafe. Yeah, listen to him. But what I mean by a point of order here, this town seems to be running kind of like on autopilot.
did you ever think that might be why a town manager would be a good idea?
Well, I would have said so, but when I look at my tax record, and I've got it here if anybody wants to question me, this is real. I'm retired. My wife and I are on Social Security. If you folks keep spending money like you have it when you don't, it's going to come out of my pocket, and eventually you're going to cause me to lose my property Now, my wife came to the town and asked, what kind of relief do you have for taxes? Especially retired people who are living on a fixed income and Medicare. You're setting us up for a major failure here, folks. Please consider what you're doing. Stop spending money. Please, I'm against it.
Thank you.
If-
Did you want to say something?
I'd like to say something regarding that. The budgets that our different departments create, they get vetted by the select board and by the financial advisory committee. After that happens, those budgets are presented to the townspeople to vote on whether or not they want to allocate funds to fund those different departments. It is the townspeople that decide how much money to spend. It is up for the select board to arrange for that money to be taken out of your property taxes to fit the bill for those items. That is how this works. It's not like we are up here just throwing numbers into the air without any sort of system of checks and balances. It is always the people of Limington that have the inevitable say of whether or not a budget is approved. It is up to the select board at that moment to make sure that the funds are there to cover that budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, you had a question? Yes.
Bob Gervais, 239 Boothby Road. Just quickly here, I understand when people go, I'm retired, I have a fixed income, I'm on Medicare, my taxes went up. So I'm in the same boat as everyone. I look at it differently, however. I think that to vote this down to supposedly save $150,000 is penny wise and pound foolish. I think what's going to end up happening is we'll spend far more than $150,000 at the end of the day when we can't get through a winter with the equipment that's falling apart. The only reason that these, people say, well, why didn't we see this coming? The reason we didn't see this coming is that past administrations have found somebody to slap inspection stickers on these vehicles when these vehicles had no business getting an inspection sticker. I put a lot more weight in the gentleman that drives these trucks every single day than I do somebody that's running around, getting whatever the fee is to put a sticker on. This year, to their credit, we got somebody that knew what they were doing, came in and really assessed those vehicles, and we found out that those vehicles are in a lot worse shape than we thought, and certainly should not be on the road. And if I've got an employee that's been here as long as this gentleman has, and he's telling me that these things are a hazard to be on the road, I'm going to believe that guy. So I think approving this article will be far cheaper in the long haul over the next 5 years than voting it down and supposedly saving $150,000. Thank you.
Was there someone else who hasn't asked a question yet that I saw? No? Okay, yes, Roxanne.
Roxanne, Coppin Hill Road. If they should vote this down, is there enough money in his budget, in the budget, for that to be paid for?
I think she said
There's
no.
probably enough for one, Roxanne, like probably $70,000, I think, that's in there.
On the total budget? Because you can take from one line item to another as long as you don't.
Right.
As long as you
Correct.
don't.
There
take it
could
from-
be, that possibility,
Yes.
to answer your question.
I'd
is
have to
without
go a little bit further with it, Roxanne, but just the cursory reading is yes.
So if it did get voted down, they'd still be
Well,
able to.
I'd hate to say, I think it might be close, okay? Not knowing what the next 4 months are gonna be,
Yeah.
right? 3 months,
And
so.
they keep mentioning about the selectmen and the budget and stuff. The budget ends with the selectmen. I know back when I was a selectman, the budget committee or the different departments would put in their budget, and the selectmen would go over that budget and stuff. And if they felt that well, this is more than what they need, when you added up the figures and stuff. It's the selectmen's job to put in what they feel is the right budget, not just because the fire department asked for $1 million or the road department asked for $1 million. It's the selectmen's job to go through to make sure that they need that $1 million.
Yes.
That we're not raising $1 million for something that at the end of the year they've got 100,000 left over because they didn't spend it.
Right.
So
I
it
agree.
is the
Yeah.
selectmen's, well, that is the selectmen's
Yeah,
job.
because we need to know
Which
what-
may be your town manager's job.
Right, and we need to know that total dollar for the budget, Roxanne, because that's going to tell the townspeople if we increased it.
$1 million just because they said, I want $1 million.
Right.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Sir.
I can be nice.
It's my cop.
You guys probably remember me. I live up the road in Herbie's old house. Anyway.
Can you state your name and street, though, just for those
I'm
who
Mike
don't?
Hartford, your former fire chief.
thought we all knew.
Yeah, Mike Hartford. And I live at 367 Secocas Avenue, Herbert Ramsdell's home. Okay? There's just a couple of things that caught my
You gotta
mind.
speak
Caught my
to the mic.
mind while you were saying this, and one thing, I just think it's serious, and you brought it up. Not trying to put anybody down, but if you're gonna buy a truck, a used truck, I know, we got some of those when I was fire chief, you damn well better have commercially licensed drivers. Drive that thing, play with that thing, take it out, drive it around, but you can't have somebody
Please speak in the mic.
that doesn't have the credentials to drive that truck. Now, go down the road a little bit to the hypothetical, when that thing's sitting upside down some night and somebody's headed for the hospital. Do you want the person that's qualified
Absolutely.
to look that truck over and make sure that's the right truck for the town? That it's safe to drive and the darn rescue unit ain't gonna come pick you up because you got hurt because of a bad piece of equipment? It's definitely something in my book that would make our town manager do some research on first and say, what's the credentials of this person that's approving this? What's the credentials? Because in this day and age, it's so easy to get sued, but that isn't what really bothers me. Human life's what bothers me. When these things are upside down, somebody's bleeding. You gotta know somebody, the buck's gotta stop somewhere. So please, folks, just think about that when you vote on this. But there should be an amendment, an addendum to this thing that says a CDL licensed person is gonna give it the final go-ahead before the selectmen get it and say, yeah, we'll pay for it. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Yes.
Tim Bickford, Evergreen Circle. Just a quick housekeeping thing. It seems like it's mostly about where the money's coming from for this. I think the town seems like, after independent inspection, needs a truck, and I'm all for a safe truck if we get a bunch of relics out there. In the last, I've been going over a lot of the town spending, doing a report, which I'll present at some point. No department has exceeded their warranted amount in the last 5 years, except for Parks and Rec. I think Sean had an extra $100,000 last year. I don't have the exact numbers with me, unfortunately. Just housekeeping wise, where does that surplus money go?
General fund.
And is that where the money for this is coming from?
No, this is coming from the Capital Improvement Fund.
And why wouldn't we pull it from surplus money that's already been allocated to roads?
That is probably the treasurer's answer, because the money goes back into the general fund, but it's not allocated to anybody for anything.
Right, and we use that money to offset the budget the next
For
year.
the
Like,
next
we
year.
used $500,000 last
Yep.
year to offset the budget, so.
Okay.
So, yes.
So that just, at the end of the year, that gets zeroed out, or is there always kept some in there for surplus? You said you put 500 in. I don't know how much was in that account to begin with.
Well, it just stays in the general fund. It allows us to run the town from January until August when taxes are due. We need money in the general fund to run the town for those 7 months until this tax starts coming in.
So if we didn't have surplus, if he didn't
Right,
put in
we would have to
surplus,
borrow money to run the town if we didn't have money in the bank.
and that would happen every year. Okay, I'll do some research on that. It doesn't quite, isn't clear to me.
But talk to Patty while you're doing
Yeah.
the research, yes.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Yes, Jason?
Jason Smith. Do we have a balance on the capital reserve account? Like how much is in there?
I can give you a rough estimate. $1.1 million.
Okay.
Which I will point out that that doesn't come close to covering what we have for the 5-year plan.
Yeah, I heard the gas out here. So the next question is what's on the 5-year plan? From my recent video watching, there's another ambulance, a fire truck, probably another public works truck, because even these used ones, if this gets passed tonight, we still got trucks out there that need to be replaced. Buildings and things like that. So I'm wondering what else is gonna be coming out of.
Yeah, she's gone to get the plan.
The biggest purchases that we have for the 5-year plan are definitely the fire and EMS vehicles, the fire truck, the ambulance, that needs to replace what? Ambulance 2 is our, or ambulance 1's our oldest one right now.
Ambulance 1 is slated in, I think, 3 years now, I believe. And then the engine, I believe, is right behind that on the plan. She's got the plan. She can tell you the dates.
So the engine got moved from
The engine got bumped back a year, because it should have started
1 year,
last.
so that's gonna be on this year's. Gonna be on next March.
Yes.
For 400, 350, something like that.
I think it was 350 is what.
350, Emil was saying, but at that point, I believe, is that a used, or is that a
That was
new?
used, there's no way you're buying that.
that's used.
That's for a used fire apparatus as well, because I think 850 is the going rate right now for a new fire apparatus, depending on spec. You can get them a little cheaper if you buy like a demo model, but
And we're definitely in an advantage. Used fire trucks are in generally better condition than used plow trucks, because they sit inside.
I mean, that used engine 6 that we just got.
Some of these probably, we do need new trucks, I get that. My whole thing here tonight is like the process definitely needs help, because we're here at a special town meeting voting on this when it got denied in March. And I do appreciate Steve pointing out that the Financial Advisory Committee voted yes on that, but that, as Patty pointed out also, that it was a different article. That was specifically for 550s and things like that, and now we're doing 2 trucks, used trucks, and it's a complete kind of 180 from what we've been told for the last 5 years, is that we don't want used plow trucks because they're junk, because somebody else got rid of them. But
So Tammy, you had a question, you had an answer to the question?
She had some information on what's on the plan?
Yeah, but he also, and it escapes me now, because he was talking about, it was voted down in March, and these trucks were inspected in July. That's the difference.
Right.
They were not passed in July, which is what nobody knew in March, okay? They were under the assumption that these trucks were all gonna last another couple of years. That was not the truth. Within 4 months, they were stuck out back, unusable. And that's what the town didn't know in March, but what we know now. That's why we brought it back, because we found out the condition of the trucks. We can't put them on the road. We're up against it right now. We're asking for a couple of trucks, the money for a couple of trucks.
And that's gonna be truly, if we can find them in this
right now,
timeframe.
because
this is the wrong time, you're buying a
In
plow
July
truck
and
coming
August,
into
they were
winter.
available, and now they're not.
Yeah.
So there's a chance we could approve this and they wouldn't get bought?
There's a
if we don't
possibility.
find them?
We have
I
to,
really,
we
yeah.
have to at least get one. We really do. We have to get one.
So you had some information on what was on the plan? Like, again, the plan, because of my experience on the Financial Advisory Committee, this is just a plan. It's a thought.
Correct.
Yeah.
And until it gets voted on to actually spend the money, it's not. But
Yep.
some of the things that I know on there, that are on there, could you share those?
Do you want 2024, 2025, the next
Sure.
year's plan?
Yeah, what's gonna be coming up? We
All right.
got 1.1 million
So,
in there.
for
What's
next
coming up?
year, all right, we're gonna start the year with $1 million there. They're going to ask the town to add 500,000 to the warrant funds. And then the plan is for, do you want me to go down, Parks and Rec wants, 20, 30, 40, $80,000 of that next year. The ambulance, they want to order an ambulance next year for $325,000 for an estimated delivery of 2028. And the fire department wants $50,000. Let me go down. I don't think there's
That
anything.
doesn't seem right. Where's the fire truck?
What's that?
Where's the fire truck?
The fire truck,
It's on the previous year,
Yeah, right here.
right there.
Where'd it go?
engine one,
Yeah, right there.
350, that was in this year, to order it this year for
But it-
delivery of 2027.
But it didn't make the, so it bumped the 5-year plan back.
Because we got that, we just got that fire truck. That'll probably move out a year.
That was the whole point, yeah, that was the
Or
big
two.
point of getting that. This one will prolong will help us get to that delivery date. The old engine 6 wasn't gonna make it. The tank was leaking and it was rough. But
I'm going to want a little bit more discussion, but we seem to be getting away from the point of the article is about the trucks, not about the fire department. So we need to focus on whether or not we're addressing the,
Well, we're just addressing how much money is in the
capital
because that's where we're
improvement.
taking this money out of.
right, correct.
Yes.
And, you know, part of the consideration there is what else is coming out of that same pot of money. And I guess the other question I have is that there is money that's already been slated, and we have a pile of parts for a plow truck that we were gonna build. Is that still gonna happen? Because that money's been approved. And the other thing that I think that really should happen is that there should be a time frame on some of these capital expenditures, because right now we could vote to spend the $150,000, but we don't know when that's gonna happen. There's no time frame on that. So I guess if this moves forward, I would like to see it have like a 1-year deadline or something on it, or
On what?
on the approval to spend that money, and then your approval goes away. Because the building of those fire trucks that was approved in 2023, one of them got done. There's still money that's been slated and approved for that hasn't been spent. We can't do anything else with that money right now. I believe the balance is like $18,000.
I think so, close to that. 16?
So because he built the, so like 50, 60, I don't know what the number was, that we approved to spend out of capital improvements. He only spent a portion of that because we don't have the second truck built yet. So the balance of that.
Would you agree?
We can't do anything with that money.
Yeah, I understand. I know where you're coming from. Would you agree that you'd like to see that first truck operational before you see money going into another one?
I can't make that stipulation. I mean,
You've paid already, the townspeople have paid to build that truck, to make it a plow truck.
we've
Would
paid
you
for
like to?
we've paid for another one too, that doesn't
Still
even
ain't
exist
built.
yet.
It's not built yet. I'd like to see this one operational before we say, yeah, go ahead and build that
How
other
about we
one.
see this one operational before we spend another 150?
Okay,
I mean, you
okay,
just said
okay.
it.
All right, let's go, then let's set a date and go down and see it.
I hate to do this to Public Works because they're telling us they're not going to get in these trucks this winter. I don't want to do that to them.
Right, right. So would you be happier taking 75,000 out of capital improvement instead of 150.
For one truck?
If we run the numbers and there's 70,000 left in Public Works available, then we can get the total of those two together to get a truck or two, especially a wheeler. We need a wheeler, number one.
Wheelers are two axles in the back instead of one.
So what
Twice
you're
as much
saying
for-
then, for clarification, is that you would, there is a possibility of lowering the money requested in Article 3 down to 75,000, is that what you're saying? I
But
don't know
not
what-
reduce how much you're gonna spend. You wanna reduce this to
Correct.
75, but then take the 70 out.
Well, the
of
money, you guys
operation.
already budgeted the 70,000 that's sitting there in that account.
That's in his operational budget.
Mhm. Yes. Would that make you feel better?
Well, it's how it makes the rest of the people
How does
feel.
that, how does that feel? How does
I think
everybody
we need
feel?
to, if you're intending to do that, you need to make a motion, and so we can move forward.
Are you making a motion?
I'm not.
No,
That's up to you.
It's up to the audience.
It's on
if
you,
wish to
sir.
do that.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because that's a
All
whole
right.
different, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
All right, so that's a moot point from your point of view. You're not going to make a motion. So do you have other questions that you want to ask?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Steve, just a minute. sir.
It's late, I'll be quick. Question about why we're buying used trucks. We tried to buy a new truck in March. You guys said no, now we're buying used trucks.
All right, one more question, Roxanne? If you- Pardon? Yes, the previous question is moved. Is there a second? Yes, there's a second. All in favor of moving the previous question? I guess I don't have to ask that. Yes. No, what, wait, no. Donna.
We're ending the discussion,
Donna, we're
Donna.
ending the discussion. So, that, I just said all in favor of, and it seemed to be there were hands raised to move the previous question.
I can't hear
So-
what she's saying.
Yeah, put your hearing aids in, dear. We have moved the previous question. Now we're going on to the article, to vote on the actual article as written. Okay? The article reads, to see if the town will vote to spend up to $150,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund and authorize the Select Board to purchase trucks for the Public Works Department. All those in favor, please stand.
I'll just have to.
Okay, front row sit. Please sit in the front row, second row.
Second row can sit. 6 Bonnie, you can sit. Linda, you can sit. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I get 12.
Okay. All those opposed, please stand. We're going to do row to row, so first row, no one, second row is 1. No, you're in the third row, sir, in the blue shirt. Third row for noes. Okay, that, well, the fourth row, yep.
Nays have it.
Yep, okay. 17 nays, is that correct?
How many?
So the article did not pass?
Did you guys vote?
What was the
Hmm?
total?
Voting?
Are you guys voting? We didn't count you.
Voting for what?
I'm voting for it.
Are you voting?
To take the 150 out of capital?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm a yes.
Okay, so you're a nay, so that's 18.
Yes, and I'm yes.
So what's the
Okay,
breakdown?
all right, hold on, everyone. The article lost. Please be quiet in the back until we read the article. The article lost in a vote, was it 18 to 12 or 19 to 12, Patty?
Well, with us, it's 15 to 17.
Oh, 15, okay.
17 not in favor, 15 in favor.
Okay, so it lost by 2 votes, 15 to 17. So Article 3 does not pass, okay? That being the end, is there a motion to adjourn? Jay? Jason, is there a second? Yes, Bob seconded it. All those in favor of adjourning? Thank you, everyone. And I would strongly suggest that everyone come to the March town meeting.